Good afternoon, everyone. It's Louise here from Eleanor Grace. So, my apologies for this being a day late. As I've mentioned, if you've seen any of my messages in the Facebook group or on one of my social media sites, unfortunately, I have had a big leak into the kitchen, which I think I might have mentioned last time. And the guys have been here sorting it out. They've done a brilliant job, but of course, they were in the way and I couldn't record anything. So here we go. We've got a week off next week for Easter. What I might be doing is releasing a little extra video on one of the other subjects, maybe a bit of couching or something like that. But I wanted to give you some hints to keep you going over Easter and till I come back in 2 weeks with the next video. And also wanted to go through some of the putting together, because I know some of you are very, very keen to get ahead and to get it sorted. So we will be looking at that today. So you're going to have three sort of prompts today, and I'll go over briefly what we mentioned last week as well. So these are some of the ones I had made last week, and we used these two blue ones at the front for our prompts, and that was to have a pattern, which is this one, to follow the pattern, and to see where it takes you really. And I've just made sure each corner is secured, because we are going to be stitching them together back to back. As you remember, these are going to be double-sided, and this one was meander, so I just sort of meandered, wandered around bit by bit. And the only sort of decision making that I made in this was that I wasn't going to do the horizontal stripes. I was only going to be doing the vertical ones, and again just making sure there are stitches in each corner, just so it is going to be secure. So, excuse me, that's those two. And I also did show you these, but I didn't talk through them because these were going to be the two prompts for this week. I've decided to add in a third as well. What I will go through over briefly first, though, is just checking that you've got everything you need. So obviously I have been using a range of threads. So this one here is using cotton perlé. This one I have used, again, a cotton perlé, and all of the others I've used a Sashiko thread and a Sashiko needle. So this is really nice. I do recommend it if you really want to get into Sashiko or Boro properly. I would say do try some Sashiko thread and a Sashiko needle. It's got a nice big eye and it works beautifully. Now, as I've said before, we're not doing this 100% in the proper style of a Sashiko, which would be to, for instance, in this piece, do a whole load of stitches at one time and only pull through when you've gone quite a way across. We're just going to do these as we feel. So just to be relaxed about that. It's slow stitching is not completely akin with Sashiko and Boro, in that we want to enjoy this and not think too much about the sort of, not perfectness of it, but Sashiko sometimes is a bit perfect, Boro not so much. But we are going to have three prompts today, and just to say, for the backing, I've used a sort of quite thin piece of this, which is a medium to sort of light to medium weight calico, and these are going to be reversible, so you do want to obviously match up your pieces and just check that they go together well, because my plan is to make mine spring and summer on one side and autumn and winter on the other. So we also need some ribbon. So what I've been using is this grosgrain ribbon, because it is it's a little bit more dense than a lot of ribbons, and I think it will hold together quite well. So what I've said is you might want to get up to 2 meters of ribbon, which in inches is just over 6 foot, I think. Just having to work it out. Yes, you want to look at the space you've got. So what I would say is that you don't have to have a particular length. You don't, a lot of people are saying, how many of these do I make? It's really up to you. But what I will do is show you what I've done. I've got quite a small house, so I don't have a huge amount of space for bunting. So I'm going to make mine probably around the 1.5 meters, which I can tell you easily is 5 foot. That's much more easy to convert. I'm allowing about 20 centimeters at each edge, which is 20 centimeters. I'll try and work that out later in inches. I'm really not good in inches. And about 8 inches, just under. To fix it. So there's going to be several different ways that you can fix this, but I'm allowing about 20 centimeters, which is about that much, to fix either side. So let me show you what I've done with that, and then I'll give you the prompts. So I'm just going to move these out of the way for the moment. What I've got is an old bit of tape, which is some sort of webbing or something like that. I'm never going to use this for anything because it's old. As you can see, it's incredibly sort of dirty and mucky, and I don't know where I got this from. I think it was in a bundle from a vintage fair, but it would be all right if I could just stitch over it, but it's not something I'm going to use. So what I did, and you might want to do this if you're not too sure about the markings, is find something long and that you don't really care too much about marking with a pen. What I've done is I've marked up 20 centimeters there, which is going to be each side, and then I've marked up the 10 centimeters, which is 4 inches, which is the width of each piece. So I've marked up where I'm going to have a piece, so that's number 1, and then a space of the same amount. Now, when I put this together, that's what I thought I would do, is I'll do one every 10 centimeters with a 10 centimeter space in the middle. But until I actually start to look at this properly, I don't know if that's 100% going to work for me. So I would suggest you do something like this. Get a bit of something you can mark on, mark off the spaces. So I've marked off where there's going to be a space, where there's going to be number 2, and I've worked it all the way through to number 6. So I'm thinking 6 pieces of bunting each side, with 20 centimeters at the end in order to tie it up. Now that might not work. So what I'm going to do when I've got the pieces together, I'm just going to I'm going to pin them on there in the spaces that I've got for them. So 6 there, 5 there, etc., etc. And I'm going to hang it up, just to the eye and see if it works. If it doesn't work, what I might do is flip this over, put my 20 centimeters for each edge, and then work out, how many I think I'm going to get in. 6 might be too many, 5 might be better. I often think odd numbers work better, so I might just use that extra space that the 6th one would have had and stretch them out a little bit further. So it's really up to you. And, I don't want to sort of say this is how far you should do it. If you've got plenty of space, use the full 2 meters. Use more if you want, but if, like me, you've either got a limited space where you can put it, or you've got it for a specific area, then just sort of get something old, and that's got a bit of length in it, and sort of mark it out and see if that works for you. So what I'm going to be doing is pinning these on here just temporarily along the edge, and just seeing whether I think that's enough or whether I think that's too much, and then I'm going to go from there. So that's what I'm doing with that, but I will update in 2 weeks' time as to how I've got on there. I'm just going to bring this out a little bit, and what I'm going to show you is the 3 prompts for this week. So obviously we've got Easter off, and I hope you all have a lovely Easter if you do celebrate, or if not, I hope you have a lovely couple of weeks. What we're going to look at here is a particular stitch done in different ways. So I do apologise for my pronunciation if it is incorrect, but we're looking at a particular type of very, very standard Boro and Sashiko stitch, which is called hitomazashi. And hitomazashi basically more or less means running stitch. So I've done 3 different types here, and I thought maybe you'd like to give these a go. One of them I'm just going to show you, but I will start off with the basics. So this is, if you can see here, what I've done here. Now, if I was to do this again, bearing in mind that we're going to be stitching the 2 pieces together, I would probably leave a space around the edge, because we don't really need that. We're going to be, we're going to be stitching them together anyway. So I would probably do this a little different if I was to do it again. But I went mad and I really, really enjoyed it. So what I did is I got several different colour cotton perlé 8s. So they're all the same weight, so it's not going to look any different. And I started off just thinking I was going to do hitomazashi, so a running stitch, offset. So the first line, you just do a running stitch across. And on the second line, you come in between the spaces, if you can see that well enough. And then you do the next line back as the first one would be, and so on, onwards and onwards as you go down. What I did is I got to about this point and I thought, oh, that's a lot of stitching. So I came to the end and I thought, what I've done underneath is I've collated lots of little pieces of flowers from different pieces. So this is not all one piece of fabric underneath. It is many, many different pieces that I've just sort of stitched on. So when I got finished with the yellow here, I thought to myself, I really feel like I want to go down this side, and I love this green, so I thought I might give that a go. So I did the same. I did the stitches, and what I decided is at the point that I felt like stopping, I would stop. So this one is quite thick, and I went on quite a long time. I did quite a few rounds there. I did 5 lots of stitches. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I did 6 lines here. So here I did 4, and I thought, oh yeah, that's enough. I thought I'm going to turn it again, and I'm going to go along this side. And actually, what I did is I carried on in a different colour. So I wanted to go a bit further, but I didn't want to do the same colour, so I did a blue here. Then I turned and I thought, well, I'm going to do this one in a different colour. So I did that in a pink. And again, it's just offset hitomazashi stitches, so just basic running stitch, but offset each line against each other, and it gives a really pretty pattern. So when I got in the centre, I thought, well, I want to use all these colours again. I don't want to keep, using new colours. So I went along the top here in a colour that wasn't going to run into each other. What I did try to do is keep the colours separate. So I thought here, I've done pink there, yellow there, and blue here, so I could do green. And then I was turning and thinking I could do, there's no pink there, so I could do pink, and so on. If you want to look at the back, it's almost as fascinating as the front. And as you can see, it's not hugely neat, and that is sort of the point of our version of certainly Boro. Boro was not always done in a very neat fashion. It was just done to hold clothes together. So it's a bit more Boro than Sashiko in a way. For this piece. So I would say even if you don't want to do the whole triangle, you could try a little bit of hitomazashi offset running stitches and see how you get on with that. So hitomazashi is one of the main forms of Sashiko, and this is a piece, and I'm just going to demonstrate what I've done here. So with this piece, I have done very little stitching. As you can see, it's still got tacking stitches in. And what I've done is a handful of here. I've done a bit of hitomazashi offset running stitches, just again following a pattern. But we're going to stick, and I did do a few French knots, which is totally not Boro Sashiko. They wouldn't use things like this. So I just went a little bit off piece there. But what I did do is have a little practice, and I'm going to do some more of these. I've just got to get the thread back out. I'm going to show you these. These are also hitomazashi. So if you think of hitomazashi as being a running stitch, these are running stitch stars. Now, as I think I said last week, one of the main things about Sashiko is that you do not come in and out of the same hole again and again. So you can see these stars do not meet in the middle. That's on purpose. Each of the, when you do the first 4 corners, the first up and down stitches there, you then need to go in between without going into the center. So at no point do any of these stitches overlap in terms of going in and out of the same hole. So I'm going to show you that one in a second. So I would say give that a go. I will just demonstrate it because it is just a little bit fiddly, but it's very nice. And the third one, which I'm still working on, as you can see, I've still got my bit of thread in there. This is also hitomazashi. Now this is very similar. This is a hitomazashi cross. So it is, again, going along. Now, the one thing with Sashiko in the way that they work is that really you would do all of the across stitches and then you would work all the way down and then you would come down and do all of the vertical stitches. So all of the horizontal first, then the vertical. So what I've done is I've tried to sort of follow that to some extent, in that I've gone all the way along, but then I've decided I'm going to come back over them and do one line at a time. It's a little bit off-piste, but you can do these however you like. It's just a simple cross, and as again you can see, it's an offset hitomazashi cross. So you're doing first line, and then the second line is in between the space underneath the first 2 crosses there. So these are 3 types of hitomazashi that we can do. I'm just going to demonstrate the hitomazashi star on here. I've got my Sashiko needle and a bit of Sashiko thread, and what I'm going to do, what you want to do is obviously work out where the center of your star is going to be. So say here there's a little flaw in this calico where this is a sort of slightly brown section, so I'm going to work mine around there. So you don't come right into the center. I'm going to make this slightly larger so hopefully it's a little bit easier to see. So actually I'm going to come alongside here. I think that'll be easier. So you do generally do your across stitches first. So I do my across stitch there, and I do another across stitch there. Then we do our vertical stitches. Okay, so this is by no means perfect, as you can see, and again, as I say, we don't go right up into the center. You will leave a bit of space in the center because these will not cross. In fact, I've just gone a little bit too far there, I think, really. I'm going to come back down a bit. It makes quite a nice open little star. So if I give it a bit of space in the center. And then I'll do my little in between diagonal stitches. So again, you're not coming into the center, you're coming in between the previous stitches. I'm sorry this colour isn't brilliant. I've turned up the I've put a filter on to try and show it up a bit better. So I'm going to do this one next over here, and then I'm going to go for the other diagonal. So this one's a little bit wonky, but again, slow stitching, we don't look for perfection, do we? It's not a requirement. I just think this is the cutest little stitch, and I've really enjoyed looking into these and the history of these. Because I think generally in Western stitching we would try to fill the hole, and I just like the fact that we're not here. So there we go, little hitomazashi star. So that's a little thing for you to work on over the next few weeks. And if you're wanting to get ahead and start getting your bunting together, as I say, get something to sort of measure out how long you want your piece to be, and then you go from there. I definitely think you need something around 20 centimeters at the start and end of each piece, just to give you time to and space to tie it off in whichever way you're going to do. And I have a couple of options for that. So when I come back in 2 weeks' time, we will be working towards finishing this section and working towards moving then on to Kanzashi flowers, which I absolutely love making. Sometimes a bit fiddly, but really good fun. So I will give you a little update that in the 2 weeks' time to tell you what you need for that one. Those of you who've ordered a kit from me, I have sold out now, unfortunately, but those of you who've ordered a kit from me will have everything in there. I have a few little mini kits on the on my Etsy shop, so you can have a look there and see what might be whether you might fancy one of those. And I meant to show you this as well. This was just 3 pieces of fabric sort of put together. I think once the stitching moves down, it'll look quite different, and it will slightly soften the fact that this is a very bright pink and this is a bit more subtle, and this is a very, very soft sort of pinky piece of linen. But yeah, have a bit of fun, have a little play around, and just see how long you want your piece to be. Whether it's 1.5 meters, 2 meters, or something in between, and then we will meet up again in 2 weeks, and hopefully you can show me your hitomazashi and how you're getting on. If you're not already in the group, Slow Stitching by Hand with Eleanor Grace on Facebook, do please come and join us and show us what you're working on. I do have a monthly competition, which is usually more to do with participation, but this month it is about the stitch along. So if you'd like to have a chance of winning a special prize, a special pack of slow stitching goodies, come and join Slow Stitching by Hand with Eleanor Grace, and you'll see a post about how to do it, and I can tell you if you're not too sure. Just do answer the questions when you come into the group, because otherwise you won't be automatically let in. So that is quite important, just to make sure that we keep the group safe with people who really want to be there. Okay, well, have a lovely Easter if you're celebrating. If you're not, have a lovely couple of weeks, and I will see you again soon. Bye.